Hey guys, so Sir bringing you another video. Now welcome back to another Challenger Spectate. So today we are watching Kennen in the top lane. And we're kind of asking the question is, how is Kennen? He's a champion that's obviously been around for a really long time, AP top laner. There are obviously AD builds that do every now and then float around, but generally he's considered obviously a AP champion. Very good team fighter, good control, obviously with his ultimate, has stuns and all that. And yeah, we're going to give it a little look-see. We're watching White Knight 109, interesting name. Is a challenger player, I think roughly in the top 5, top 10 challenger players currently on the US anyway. Enemy team invading and do get taken out. And on stream earlier, this might be a pro. Someone said White Knight might be a pro. If it is, let me know in the comments who it is. If you know, it might just be a solo queue player, might be a pro. Not really sure. But this game I think was quite interesting because it's quite unique in a couple of instances. Namely, the enemy team have got a Camille mid. They've got a Twitch AD carry running Ignite. Then on the Kennen's team, there's a Nunu mid. And also there's also a Pantheon support. So there, even though this is a challenger game at the highest level, obviously of solo queue everything, there's some very odd picks in this game. And also worth noting, the Fiora. Oh, apparently it's actually Fiora mid versus Nunu. And from my knowledge, our Rogue inspired. He is currently rank 1 or challenger on 2 accounts. He's rank 1 and rank 2 on both of his own accounts. And is taking Fiora versus Nunu. Now, why would that be a thing? Well, if you kind of think about it, what is Nunu, his engage tool? Nunu's engage tool is a snowball. What is going to be one of the easiest things to riposte as a Fiora? A massive, gigantic snowball heading straight for you. That would be very easy to riposte. But obviously the weakness of picking something like Fiora mid, or one of two things really. One, you're obviously playing an AD mid laner, and it could imbalance your team. And as you can see here, they have an imbalanced team comp. They've got an AD carry, they've got a Fiora mid, AD jungler, and AD top laner. So they might be lacking the AP damage. Secondly, Fiora is not by trade designed to be a mid laner. Meanwhile, she does get a solo kill on Nunu while being 2v1'd. She's not designed to be a mid laner, and some champions who go in lanes they're not designed for can be kind of abused in a way. Fiora, when it comes to mid, no mobility in terms of, getting ganked again and again and again and again. Obviously, in top lane, it doesn't affect her as much because usually top lane, you're kind of left alone in 1v1s most of the time. And obviously, that's what Fiora is literally designed for, is 1v1 duels. Anyway, Kennen, runes, while we may as well go after it, is running Spellbook, by the way. Spellbook Kennen with boots, minion dematerializer, which we've already seen the Kennen use a few times, and then is running Cosmic Insight. Then secondly, running the Domination. I've gone blank. Taste of Blood, Ravener's Hunter, and attack speed, adaptive damage, armor. Big fight happening in mid lane, by the way. Pantheon already roaming as support. And, this is now a 2v1. They should be heavily engaging on the center, which they are finally now doing, but they should be definitely zoning that. Top lane, is there going to be any impact? There's 3 people charging down. Kha'Zix jumping onto just a slow with the Pantheon, coming with the slow and the stun. Pantheon now in trouble. Enemy team, this is a very close fight. Nunu going to go for the big flash. Double root from Nunu, and they will pick up 1 and pick up 2 kills. So, yeah, very early roam by Pantheon. Meanwhile, Kennen didn't get involved. Camille did. Camille got a slow with a W, but it was not enough to stop, obviously, what just happened. So, yeah, a bit of a random game. I like, again, I've said this for ages. I love doing Challenger Spectates for a few reasons. One, if I'm honest, it's the biggest time that I get just to commentate games. I like commentating. I really, by the way, that is a Senna solo kill in potentially a 2v1 situation, and it is a 2v1 situation. But I might want to try and get into commentary. I've been thinking about it for the past, year, if I'm honest, of doing these Challenger Spectates more. I enjoy commentating, and obviously in this commentary, I'm doing what is called both color and play-by-play. Usually when you're actually a caster, you specialize. I don't know which one I would specialize in, if I'm honest. I can kind of do both. But it's fun, and I might get into it. Don't know how I'm going to get into it. But I like doing them for that reason. Secondly, I think they're very educational. If you are here on the channel to actually learn, well, you are watching the best players in the game, and we break down what they're doing and sometimes why. We get to learn new things, obviously, as we go. So there's reminding people the replays are still bugged. Riot still has not fixed them, so that's why sometimes the animations are simply not playing. You can see Camille's W. It doesn't look like it's happening, even though it is. Teleports are happening, and there's no, like, big, you know, teleport effect or anything. They haven't fixed them, unfortunately. Like, there's Camille's W. The wind-up is not visible, which is a bit weird. Anyway, Kennen's first item purchase, Seeker's Arm Guard. Let's be honest, everybody. If you look at the enemy comp, what is something that you just need? Armor. So this is itemizing, good dodge. This is the effect of itemizing against the enemy comp. The lesson to be learned is so many people in League of Legends just have an item build that they do every single game. And it's like a cookie cutter build. No matter what you're against, no matter whatever, your team, they'll build the same thing every game. The higher rating you go, you will realize that it's something you simply cannot do. You need to adjust your build accordingly to the game that you're currently in. A typical Kennen build would not be rushing a Seekers. A typical Kennen build would be getting probably the Hextech Revolver first item and then going Proto build. He's not doing that, this Kennen. They are buying the armor AP component, which will give them early survivability versus the entire enemy team. It's smart. And obviously Zhonya's is going to help the Kennen. You know, when you're against a double melee AD champions, Camille and Fiora, they only do damage to you if they're on top of you. So having a Zhonya's when you're Kennen and you're just ulting is clearly a very good idea to get earlier in the game. You're protecting yourself and also countering the enemy team. So it's good. Not sure, by the way, the Kennen will finish as Zhonya's early. It might just have the Seekers to get the stacking effect. For those that don't know, Seekers has a stacking effect for every minions that you kill, up to 15 minions. Or up to 30 minions, I think it is. So yeah, 30 minion kills gives you 0.5 armor and AP. So one each. So that gives you a bonus 15 AP and 15 armor. So the earlier you get that, you're getting these bonus stats earlier into the game as well. So again, not a bad idea at all. So again, some people want me to do a AP Nunu spectate. Again, I haven't been able to find an AP Nunu, you know, replay. Obviously, I could have done this one technically. But what I will say is, I find, you know, this player on the Kennen's team, Zelpid. They may be an AP Nunu player, so if you guys want me to do a actual spectate on AP Nunu, throw a like on the video, let me know. If we get at least, I'd say, 700 likes, maybe I'll go and do a AP Nunu mid, you know, commentary. The reason why we sometimes do these like goals is the interest even there? Do you guys even want to see an AP Nunu mid episode? And if you do, throw a like on the video, and then I'll know, let's do it. Let's break it down of why it's actually a thing. And yeah, we'll see on this guy's account, I guess, if he is an AP Nunu player. Clearly doing okay this game, down on farm, which isn't too surprising though. Twitch does die in the enemy bot lane. Again, running Ignite, questionable. Like, I don't personally know what really happened in the AD carry meta that has made a lot of AD carries go away from heal. That a lot of them are taking Exhaust, or even some Twitches obviously take Ignite. Not really sure what happened. I don't think heal got incredibly nerfed to stop AD carries taking it, but I guess the meta occasionally moves around. I personally probably wouldn't take Ignite on an AD carry, because that really leaves you vulnerable if it goes wrong. But anyway. So right now the lane is not in a great position for the Kennen. You have to remind yourself, Camille has a latching ultimate. She latches somebody, they can't get away technically. And if she has the advantage, the Kennen could be trouble. Kennen ultimate, by the way, is happening. And apologies, you can't see it. As we said earlier, there is, unfortunately, spectate bugs. But if you hear Kennen go, rah, then he's basically ulting. So that was a Kennen ultimate, and we couldn't see what was happening. Nunu does roam, though. With a Pantheon, support roam. Now, one thing worth noting, the Pantheon is able to roam. You are seeing that this bot lane now is heavily trying to, you know, fixate and punish the Senna that she's alone. What should be realistically happening is the jungler should go there too. Instead, big play actually happening here. Kindred ultimate delays the fight enough that the enemy can get there. Kha'Zix's now over the wall. Fiora's going to die. Nunu, obviously, Aura's already died. They have to make sure you finish off the kill, which the Kennen just does. Just at the end, to be honest. There's the flash. Look at the damage that Kha'Zix deals, by the way. Kindred doing a good job, though, slowing the Kha'Zix. Nice kiting under the tower. And that obviously is a G2 player. And I think the Kindred might be a pro player too. Does ring a bell. The Pantheon is tanking. And he does finish off the Kindred with his own Q. Very nice play. You know, the Nunu may have thought that, oh, this is easy, and then gets completely bursted. I think a lot of Nunus that are adapting to this playstyle, even in the jungle, by the way, because with the AP Nunu buff, there are Nunu jungles that are running Runic Echo in the jungle, the AP item, instead of going Cinderhulk. They get one shot, and they're like, oh, so yeah, you deal a lot of damage if you're allowed to do that damage, but if you're not, you just go boom. And I think some Nunus are being a little bit caught by it here or there. So Kennen having a pretty damn good farm lead, kind of, you know, not as big farm lead than mid lane. But it's there, and it does exist. And, you know, range versus melee matchup, you could argue, is the reason for that. But Kennen is a vulnerable laner. What I mean by that, and has got his proto belt, by the way, but we spoke about earlier, has that Seekers for that stacking and survivability in the early game, is range matchups in top lane. They are annoying. A lot of top laners are like, they shouldn't exist. But a very good top laner will definitely do well against a ranged if you know what you're doing, in essence. Earlier I was playing ranked on my main account, and on the Smurf, it wasn't going very well, and we had a Teemo on one of these games, and the Teemo was playing against a melee champion. I can't remember which one it was, but everyone's like, oh, you know, Teemo count as melees. Not really. The problem with ranged champions like Kennen, Teemo, even Gnar in mini form is their weakness. You know, every champion has strengths, every champion has weaknesses. If you're against a top laner that knows when to engage and how to engage, you will die a lot as a ranged champion, or at least you're going to get zoned, or you're going to feel pressured constantly. And that Teemo got owned by a melee champion. It's the same here. Like, the Camille isn't doing as well, but Kennen has got a few early kills. But a good Camille would know when to time things and go for the right play. And obviously, I'm not calling this Camille player bad. The Kennen if this was completely even, this Kennen didn't get all these early kills from the craziness, this matchup will probably be a lot more even, and it's a range versus melee matchup. Or like, there's been many a time I'm playing Darius, obviously one of my better champions. I'm against a Vayne top. Oh, it's supposed to counter Darius. You can beat them because in the end of the day, a lot of ranged champions are like, I'm just going to poke you down. They don't expect a massive engage, and it's very hard for these champions to survive massive engages. Presume this is a teleport, by the way, because I don't know why he's standing still. It is a teleport. Again, unfortunately, no animation. Kennen roam with his ultimate, gets himself a double kill, throwing both teleport and flash up, and really good roam. One thing, worth noting, top laners, I obviously haven't been playing top lane too much recently. I will go back to it because I do enjoy the champions of top lane. I've just been a bit meh about the impact of top lane. You can have a great game from top, winning your 1v1, but it doesn't matter sometimes. But this Kennen is showing how it's done. You win your lane, you win your farm, and then you look for big teleport plays or roams. And, I hear people in the back saying, what if you're not running teleport? And obviously there are some champions I play that you don't. Darius, for example. You get involved. Now, I don't really advise split pushing playstyles. I never really have. I think unless you're a very good player in a very good rating, it probably hurts you more to split push than helps. What I mean by that is, let's say you're in the average rating or silver to gold. You're average and your teammates are average. Well, making split push work is not the easiest of thing. You need to have the knowledge of when to split push, when to push it like crazy, when to back off. But also, it's trusting your teammates. Even my main account right now in Diamond 2, I do not feel comfortable with split pushing because you always get those teammates that just get caught. And it's like, if I was there on Darius or Jax or whatever, maybe, the fight wouldn't have gone bad, or maybe we would have won it. Camille going for a hard engage because the level 7 Twitch is ganking. So this is where clearly the Twitch's playstyle hasn't worked that well this game. But there is that 5 people? That's 5 people top lane. So there's 5 people top lane. Kennen is not dead though. Is surviving for now. Fiora is going to try and find the Kennen. Kennen's just going to run away from now. Reminding people, the longer this goes on, the more time it is giving red team to react. Don't think it's going to give them enough time, unfortunately, and Kennen is going to just go into the tower and get the execute, so well played to Kennen. But yeah, you can see that there's a bit of desperation by the blue team, that we are losing this game. The enemy team is just, picking. It's mainly picks that you'll notice this game that is winning the red team. That they find the Camille in a, they find the Kindred in a jungle. The Twitch is being kind of shut down this game. You can't really get picked if you're 5 people. Now Kha'Zix has no cares and nearly one-shots the Sona. Kindred Ultimate is saving, and they are low. Pantheon, Kha'Zix though, very strong champion, double kill, and there's the Pantheon with then, in essence, a near triple kill. Camille gonna go for it, does get the kill and shut down on the Kha'Zix, and will get away due to the blasting cone. What has actually impressed me this game, and I think it's been, you know, we haven't really mentioned it, the Pantheon. He's done really well. Pantheon support. It's a heavy roam playstyle. Shouldn't be too surprising. What I would say, though, is I probably see Pantheon played more support than anywhere else at the moment. I don't know if that's data-wise, statistically, like, that is the way that it is. But personally, in my own gaming experience, I don't see Pantheons in lane anymore. I do see Pantheon support. And I would say that does show the level of where the rework success was. You know, you're taking a top lane hyper early game champion, you're reworking it to be relatively the same. The game has moved on from these hyper early game champions because the player base has got smarter to not feed them in the early game and they've become useless. So what people do, I still like Pantheon though, you adapt, and where they've adapted, at least for people that want to, he's good in support. It's a early game bully all-in champion. You don't need to scale that well because you're a support. You have an AD carry that's going to do your scaling, or a mid laner or a top laner that's going to do your scaling. And you heavy roam. You've got a roaming ultimate. So Pantheon support, I'd say, actually isn't that bad. What I would say, it's unique and you need to know what you're doing with it. Otherwise, it probably isn't going to go very well. But it's in the same kind of world as, you know, set support has kind of blown up in popularity recently. Meanwhile, Kindred having a relatively rough game, 1-8. And this is, again, another reason I forgot to mention earlier. Another reason I like doing these spectates and challenges and everything is to show that feeding happens in every single rating of the game. There are people that are literally average ranks that go mental, literally crazy raging when their teammate dies 3 times in silver. And it's like, dude, challenge your players, feed. Everybody feeds. You know, it's like Dr. House says everybody lies. Well, everybody feeds. It's League of Legends. It's just, I've said it for ages, the reason why the community is so fixated on, oh, feeding just doesn't happen. It only happens in my games. Unfortunately, I do think it is a content creator issue, or it's a big part of it. That everybody that plays League, at least ranked, I'd imagine most of you watch content creators to some degree. YouTubers, streamers, whoever. Especially YouTubers are guilty, and I'd say I'm not innocent here because the way that YouTube works. But it's upload good games, upload pop-off games, upload your games you go legendary all the time. I try not to be that way, but I will say if I have a bad loss or a loss that I'm 1-8, I'm not uploading it because it's basically YouTube suicide because people don't want to see that, and, you know, it's just not a good thing to watch in general. So I do think it's part of the problem why the League community seems that, oh, in my games feeding happens, but nowhere else it does. Meanwhile, big Nunu ultimate comes through. Kennen doesn't have ult, unfortunately, yet, but that's a massive team fight. And I will say, I think the Kindred ultimate, well, I think they were dead regardless in that situation. But the Kindred ultimate basically gave Nunu invulnerability while he was charging up his ultimate there. So that both worked for the enemy team, that they didn't get one shot by the Nunu ultimate, but also it gave Nunu complete safety of, I can charge my ultimate for free. So yeah, this game, obviously, bit of a stomp, but we've seen a few things from the Kennen. And one thing is a relatively safe playstyle. He's against a Camille. And what he's doing, if you'll notice, is he has practically not cared about the 1v1 that much at all. He's poked a bit. He's not really ever gone for the kill in a 1v1. There's Kennen, even though top lane Kennen has gone for a hyper team play Kennen. For top lane, it's incredible how much, you know, it's only 19, nearly 20 minutes into the game. The Kennen has been involved in 12 kills. That's quite a lot for a top laner right now, and it's generally teleport plays that are enabling it. There's been 2 teleport plays that this Kennen has done, and it's been 2 big situations. That's the kind of point. And it's something that, obviously, I have attempted to do when I play top lane, and obviously Shen has been a big part of that. Shen is my most played champion this season. And again, right, a buff again. But he's my most played champion this season, and I do very well with Shen all the time. You win lane, you beat your opponent on farm, and you teleport around the map. But like, you know, things like Darius when you're running Ghost, it is just group up. But the basic, you know, how do I carry from top lane? The base, if you really want to know what do you minimum have to do if you want to do well from top lane, is win lane. It's the basic of it. Is meanwhile, Big Kennen ultimate, by the way, is win lane. Is do better in farm. Do get some kills where you can. That's the general parameter for climbing in general. Huz, how do I climb? Win your lane. Win your role. Do better than your opponent that's directly against you. And that's all sometimes you can do. If I'm the mid laner, I beat the enemy mid laner. Okay, my bot lane went 0 and 20. I can't do anything about that, but I beat my mid laner. If you do that consistently, you will most likely climb. But it starts there. Beat your direct opponent. Top lane to top lane, jungle to jungle, etc. That is basic 101 of how to climb. And that's what this Kennen has done. In a number of things, you know. Has beat them in farm. Has beat them in map pressure. Has beat them in definitely damage done and everything. So, yeah. And also, Camille is a pretty good solo queue champion. Good hyper aggro, potentially snowballing type champion. Very, you know, heavy on engaging and locking people down. If she gets ahead, it's very hard to stop. Stopping her getting fed is quite good. That is a positive in itself. Meanwhile, Twitch gets exploded. And yeah, as we mentioned earlier, this is a great game to show that feeding does happen in every single game because you're literally watching 3 high-rating people feed. One of them being, literally, the Fiora is rank 1 challenger right now and is 3 and 9. So if the rank 1 challenger player on EUS can be 3 and 9 in a game of solo queue, you watching this in bronze, silver, gold, iron, wherever you may be in a normal game, if you're brand new to the game, it's okay to do that too. You know, work on it, improve at the game, but you're going to have bad games, and that is a very, very, very important lesson to learn. And not just learn, it's an important lesson to accept. Kennen is zoning the Kindred, looking for the kill. Kindred potentially in trouble with her ultimate pops, though. Pantheon on the back foot to the Camille. Anyway, Twitch Flash. No, it wasn't Twitch Flash. He was just coming out of stealth. Baron has been done, though. Fiora split pushing in the bot lane, and that will be that. So I'd say the benefit that the Twitch at least didn't do was the Muramana build. There's been many a post on the Reddits of everything, or people go, there's too many people buying Muramana when it just simply isn't good for their champion. And there are some people running it on Twitch, and it's just probably not the best idea. Again, if you're looking to climb consistently, there are some champions that you need a bigger impact in the early game than what Muramana gives you. And there are champions like Twitch, probably one of those champions. Or Draven, probably one of those champions. And meanwhile, the Fiora gets basically one shot over to the Kazakhs. Obviously, quite fed this game. And that is, yeah, two challenger roughly players on the enemy team. Now double-digit deaths. Nearly 3. Twitch is 1 death as well. So I've actually enjoyed doing this video to see the Kennen. You know, how is Kennen right now? I'd say he's good. He's fine. And there is a surrender vote. He is a good champion. The weaknesses of him, you didn't really see this game. But what I would say is the Kennen covered the weakness well. The enemy team is full AD, heavily engaged Camille. What did he do? Buy Seeker's first item, and he's a bit tanky, a bit beefier than he normally would be. He also, practically every single time, if you notice, Camille was looking aggressive. He just ran away. He didn't look to fight. He didn't look to stand with his ultimate and go, I can kill you, because he probably can't. A Kennen versus a Camille in a 1v1, that's not really going to go in Kennen's favor. He ran away practically every time. He just played it smart. He beat farm, he poked, he farmed, he roamed, he teleported, he ulted, he killed, double kill. Then he went back to top lane, and then he started to roam more. So that's in essence Kennen. Very good champion as long as you can have a decent lane phase and then get to your mid game. Obviously, the game in itself, it went well for Kennen, but it went well for Nunu. Again, look at the farm difference. Insanely farm difference. That's not what Nunu does. He does pressure. And we will explain that if you guys do want me to do that Nunu mid commentary. But again, like the video if you want that, or you like the video in general. Comment down below what you guys think, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.